What is good, defenders? It is the night before the match at BMO, and it's not just any match. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to One More Sleep. You know my voice. It's the Scarf, J.R. Liebert, and sitting across from me on the World Wide Web and looking rather dapper, might I say, is one Christian Philly Philemon.
My man, Scarf. Feel like I haven't seen you in forever. You're just coming back from Puerto Rico, which is definitely a different time zone than what we have here in Los Angeles. But good evening. It's only 12:22 Pacific Standard Time, which would mean it's about 3:22 on the East Coast. It might be evening if you were talking to members of the millions
And millions.
on another continent altogether. But it sure is good seeing you. I'm sure many of you out there are questioning why the heck are these nut jobs on so early? Well, it wouldn't have happened this way had it not been for some forces of nature, aka you being somewhat under the weather, because I got stuff to do tonight. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I'm calling a baseball game. Scarf was free, and we're here. We're not going to forget to give you one more sleep the night before the biggest game of the season thus far.
Yeah, Philly, the Derby is upon us. Galaxy head into BMO, and honestly, they're clicking on about as many cylinders as any club in Major League Soccer. Undefeated on the year, 3-0-3. But I'm here to say maybe it's not all gloom and doom, but this is certainly the best a Carson team has looked coming into a derby. I will say since I can remember, maybe in the last 6 or 7 years, I don't know that there's been a team that's looked this good wearing the Herbalife sash coming into BMO.
You're not wrong about that. In fact, this is their best start since the 2010 season. They have not done this in quite some time, which is obviously way before LAFC was even a thought. Their last win against Seattle, that was their first win against the Sounders in 11 tries dating back to 2018. So yes, without a doubt, this is the best Galaxy team that we've seen since the inception of our franchise in 2018. And obviously it'll be an interesting match. The stories are quite intriguing. We're going to talk about that, obviously, and some thoughts, but a far different Galaxy team coming into the first rivalry match of the season than we've seen these past several years.
Yeah, I know we're just 6 matches into the season, but you can start to tell a lot about a club after 6 matches. This club, this Carson club that's coming up to play us, driving up 13 miles up the freeway to head to BMO Stadium, they grind out results. This is a resilient club. They were down 2-0 to Nashville, came back to draw. They were down 3-2 in stoppage time to St. Louis, came back to draw, and they were down 2-0 and came back 3-2 to beat Sporting Kansas City. This is a club that has turned 0 and 1 point matches into 1 and 3. And that's really it. And look, we talk about this all the time, Philly. It doesn't matter if the points are in March or if the points are in September, October, November. A point is a point is a point is a point. And they are doing everything they can sitting at the top of the table early on this season to get as many points.
They're getting it done offensively without a doubt. They're the second leading team in Major League Soccer in terms of goals for at 13. Only Inter Miami has more with 14. Defensively, though, they have been a little less than stellar. As you've said, they found themselves having to come back in several of their matches to grind out these results. But they're playing with a lot of confidence. I was reading about an article about an interview with Diego Fagundes, and he was saying, we still believe that we can come back despite being down 2-0, 3-0 in these games. And that speaks volumes as to the character of the club right now. They got their first shutout recently against Seattle, 1-0, although I will blame a lot of that on that sopping wet pitch at Dignity Health Sports Park. Jordan Morris should have converted on a couple of those occasions. So should have Raul Ruidiaz. But alas, a high-scoring Galaxy team that features some very young and talented players, and that are Ricky Puig, Joseph Paintsel, and Gabriel Peck. And you would think these 3 players had been competing with one another for a number of years because the chemistry is oh so evident in their play, from direct passes, direct attempts from midfield onto the right flank to a sprinting Joseph Paintsel, or even cheeky backheel passes from Ricky Puig. That chemistry is very evident.
Yeah, they certainly look good. We see Ben Skolnick in the chat, our buddy Ben. Hi, Ben. Asking if we can avoid the wretched early goal within 10 minutes. Galaxy have scored in the 3rd minute in a match this season and in the 4th minute in a match this season. The other thing to watch out for is they've also scored 3 goals after the 80th minute. in matches this season. I mean, if I do the quick math, that is 5 of their 13 goals on the season, almost half, have come in either the first 4 minutes or the last 10 plus stoppage time. And you mentioned it, Philly. It's not just those guys that you mentioned. You actually didn't even mention their leading scorer, a guy who was trying to be the first player ever in Major League Soccer to score in their first 6 matches, and a player who we know very, very well in Dejan Joveljic. 5 goals on the season. I got to tell you, it makes me sick to my stomach to look at the top goal scorers and see Chicho Arango right there with 5 as well after his hat trick. God, do we miss that guy? Imagine if we had Chicho on the club. But you got Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch there in the midfield with 4 assists. Mark Delgado. I mean, Ricky Pooch, have you seen how many touches he has through the first 6 matches? He's averaging almost 100 touches a match, leading Major League Soccer by over 100 touches, or almost 100 touches, I should say, from anybody else. And here's the part that scares me just a little bit, but then I'm going to bring it back around. Don't worry. I got a stat for you that maybe you won't be so scared. But here's the part that scares me. Just 6 matches in, Philly, they have completed over 1,000 more passes than LAFC has this season through 6 matches. 1,000.
It's wild. But I mean, they have a really good midfield and some really talented players. Now, while Ricky Pooch might lead Major League Soccer as far as touches, Denis Bouanga leads the league in shots and shots on target. My thought going into this is where Galaxy does have an advantage is in between the pipes. They finally have a stellar goalkeeper in that of John McCarthy. The defense, to me, still just, they haven't improved upon it in several years. But John McCarthy, having been a member of this team of LAFC for a number of years, he knows the tendency of a lot of these players. So that's the part that kind of worries me slightly. Denny's going to do Denny things, but we need somebody else who's going to be menacing to attract some more of those center backs in order to allow Denis Bouanga to get some clear looks at McCarthy. We'll probably have that with the likes of Olivier Giroud when that gets signed, but that is down the road. Tomorrow is tomorrow, and I can't believe the rivalry is already here. Galaxy, 9 wins, 5 draws, 7 losses against us. We have an opportunity to claim one back, and we do have the last victory against them going back to September where we whooped them 4-2.
Yeah, look, I actually think they've improved their backline quite a bit between Yamane and Yoshida, those 2 Japanese midfielders who tend to line up on that left-hand side for them. They are old, but you know what? We can't complain about old defenders doing wonderful things for us. Lord knows Giorgio Chiellini, and I'm not putting Yamane and Yoshida in the quality and class of Giorgio.
They're just like like half of Giorgio's talent.
I'm just saying, every now and then you get some guys who have really improved. I don't think, and I love you, John. I love you, John. I'm going to say this out loud. This is Scarf here. You can be upset at me if you want. I don't think it's as big of an upgrade in keeper by signing John McCarthy as signing a Hugo Lloris. And I think their bigger upgrades are certainly Yamane and Yoshida. I like Julien Audet on the opposite side as well. They've got Martin Cáceres there, who's kind of been the lone holdover. You'll talk about an old back line. Those 3 guys are pretty old, but Audet does a lot of really cool things. I think they've improved their back line quite a bit. I think that they've also made it matter less with the amount that Ricky Pooch is holding onto the ball, with the amount that Marky Delgado and Gaston Brugman have controlled matches. And I think now with Paintsel and Peck, those guys up top are really, really fun to watch. Look, this is a very talented team. However, I think they're underachieving. That's right. I said it. I don't think the Galaxy are nearly as good as they look, because on paper, they are barely, despite completing 1,000 more passes, despite scoring all those more goals, they are barely ahead of LAFC in expected goals. Now, expected goals don't mean a damn thing. I understand that, but 12.84. That's their expected goals on the season. 11.97, less than 1 goal behind them through 6 matches is LAFC. And that is less than 1 goal by having David Martinez not make 1 soft touch pass, by having 2 or 3 or 4 times us hitting the post or us not making the right play. I'm saying this. I don't think the gap is nearly as large as the play of the Galaxy versus the play of LAFC coming into this match tend to let you believe.
I wanted to address Eduardo Morales real quick, that he's going to be busting the double screens with El
Yeah.
Tráfico on one TV and WrestleMania Night One on the other. He concludes it by saying, "Let's go, Cody. Finish the story." Eduardo. I think it's going to be the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, putting one over on Cody Rhodes unless some miracle happens where Seth Rollins turns against him and then we see Dean Ambrose and boom comes the Shield, so on and so forth. I just had to address that because it is WrestleMania weekend. It's rivalry weekend. It's a lot of fun stuff. But to your point, while they might not, the Galaxy, while they might be underachieving as to what you are saying, they definitely look better than we have. They've looked better consistently. We've looked better in spurts. That's the story. That's the thing that keeps attracting my eyes. You obviously want to keep your friends close, but your rivals a lot closer. So I've seen every single one of their matches. They have a better midfield than we do. They have some fast players in the likes of Paintsel. That dude could probably sprint for his national team and make it to the Olympics. He is that fast. But at the end of the day, BMO is a tough place to play in, regardless of who you are or how talented you are. And I do think Denny's absolutely going to set Carson's backline on fire and make John McCarthy regret his decision to go down the 110.
No, I think you're absolutely right in making McCarthy regret things. I want to just highlight the chat here. LAFC, WWE died when Undertaker's WrestleMania streak died. My favorite wrestler of all time. And I got one last thing to say to you, Philly, about the whole storyline entering WrestleMania. I know we're an LAFC podcast. I think the final boss is going to have a whole lot to say about it before it's all said and done. And it would not surprise me to watch that one eyebrow go up holding the championship in his hand before WrestleMania is over. I can't.
That could happen if you turn on Roman and then boom, we got another great storyline.
You know me. I've definitely distanced myself since Undertaker's retirement and loss at WrestleMania. And even before then, I really wasn't following that closely. But look, even old WrestleMania fans like me watching guys like Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon and everybody else at WrestleMania. Look, I can't wait to see this storyline. There it is. I love that. It's good. I love it. All right, let's get back to it. Philly, shall we begin the fun that is all of our shenanigans that we do before we do our score prediction?
Yeah, because I got to head to Riverside, and that's not close. So let's get correct.
Right, hold on. It is. We are not Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, but the sad part is I'm pretty sure I know which one of those I am, and it's not Bobby the Brain Heenan.
What does that humanoid Ben Skolnick know?
All right, here we go. Let's kick it off. Oh wait, look at that, Philly. That's our website. Look at that.
That's my eyes deceive me. The website. I mean, I know it's been up and running, but I think it's been collecting cobwebs. However,
now
there's going to be a new tab on there that you're going to want to explain.
Yeah, we are still sponsored by Flex on our website. We'll have to fix that at some point, but that's okay. I don't mind because if you look, there's
call Jacob and Ronnie call Jacob.
I know, Ben, we're working on it, buddy. Either way, there's 4 little tabs up there at the top underneath Defenders of the Bank: Home, Episode, Shop, and Contact. Don't hit contact. Just hit us up directly on social media. It's a whole lot easier. Home is what you're looking at right now. Episodes is where you can go to listen to all of our episodes. But if you click on Shop, you'll now see this. Oh! That's right. Oh, my God. All right, look, I know we are shamelessly plugging our merch line before the Derby. But we have merch.
316 t-shirt.
We're working on that. That's next. First of all, shout out to Dexter Quinster. We love you. He has designed most of the designs that you see on there, and Dexter has had to work with me on a lot of these designs, and I am nothing if not difficult, and I have an attention to detail for a lot of these things. And Dexter hasn't killed me yet, and I haven't driven him to drink too much yet. But we got all kinds of fun stuff. If you head on over. Thank you to the good people at 500 level for taking care of all of our merch. If you bought any of the 3 Asian American Pacific Islander t-shirts that LAFC did last year, or any of the Carlos Vela stuff that LAFC has done in the last couple of years, that's all done by 500 level. So we wanted to give them a quick shout out. If you guys head over to our page, we have at least sold something. I know that for sure. We've sold one t-shirt at least so far, even though we haven't promoted anything yet. We've got all kinds of cool designs, and we have plenty of more designs to come. Ben Skolnick, thank you. We will bill you accordingly. Send over your bank account info and
mother's maiden name as well, please.
But yeah, there you go. All right, so let's get to it. There we go. Let's get to our players to watch for the match. For me, it's pretty simple. It all starts and ends with Joseph Paintsil for the Carson Galaxy. I think this guy is must-see TV, even though I actually think he's only the second most talented player on the pitch wearing the Herbalife sash. I have a feeling Philly is going to cover the other one in his player to watch. But that being said, this kid, Joseph Paintsil, if you guys haven't had an opportunity, look, I know we're an LAFC podcast, but we have to show respect where respect is due and earned. And this kid, Paintsil, in the first 6 matches, or first, 5 matches? I don't think he played much in the first match. He is as good as advertised. Joseph Paintsil for the Galaxy. He's the blur that you'll be seeing running up and down the pitch at BMO, as talented as any player to watch in Major League Soccer. Maddie, you are going to have to be the guy for us this match, Maddie. Matty Bogusz, because David Martinez is an idiot, Matty Bogusz has to pick up the slack for David Martinez. I am sorry, but picking up that red card so that you cannot play in the biggest match of the season so far, David Martinez, you were the roller coaster ride of every new hot prospect that we picked up this last 5, 6, 7 years. That was Andre Horta. That was Brian Rodriguez. That was, I'll even throw Christian Ramirez in there. That was Fufu Krashchev, Stipe Buke. That was everything all rolled into one. All the oohs and ahs, and then a holy crap, what did he just do to pick up that red card? Absolutely ridiculous that we are not talking about a front line of Denny Bouanga, Matty Bogusz, and David Martinez starting this match, because I know I've seen the same matches y'all have. Kike Oliveira, he's not that guy right now. He's just not that guy. And I definitely can't count on him in the derby. But that being said, it's going to be Matty Bogusz. And we're going to see Matty Bogusz at the 9. We're going to see Matty Bogusz drop into the midfield when we bring on a guy like Kai Kamara up top, because I think we'll need, and I'll talk about this more in my keys to the match, a little bit of veteran presence here. I think Matty Bogusz is going to have to go up and down the pitch with a guy like Ricky Puig, or at least shadow a guy like Marky Delgado and all of his 4 assists that he has so far on the season. I think Matty Bogusz is going to have to play the 90 minutes of his life for us to have a chance in this match. That's what I got.
That's fair. I got, yeah, Martinez, you took the words right out of my mouth. It's goes from like being a shining star, getting his first goal of the season, to making a big boneheaded move. But what do you want? The kid's 17. You and I have done some dumb-ish at 30, let alone 17. So that's the maturity factor that he's going to have to the immaturity factor, I should say, that he's going to have to overcome. But it's sad that we're not going to see him on Saturday. And obviously depth has been a question. Joseph Paintsil, you said it. I've seen him sprint right past defenders, just getting a long ball in from the midfield. He's going to be tough. But those are your players to watch. Let's go to mine.
Let's do it. Sorry, I'm reading Ben's puns in the chat. I appreciate you, Ben. All right, Philly.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. For the gals, without a doubt, it's Ricky Puig. The guy leads Major League Soccer in terms of touches. As you said, 623. He is nearly 100 ahead of the second place leader in the statistical category, Jordi Alba. Over 100 more touches than Jordi Alba does. And every time that this kid has the ball, he's deadly. An overall pass percentage of nearly 87, 2 assists, 2 goals. He has been solid for this club. We've seen those spurts of greatness coming out of him these past couple of years. And now with an actual talented team, he's going to thrive. A lot of the pressure isn't going to be on him to score. I believe, and you guys here that watch and listen to the show, I'd hate to say it, with the exception of Edward Atuesta, move Atuesta out of this, Ricky Puig is the best midfielder on both sides of the from both teams. I'll die on that hill. I'll die on that hill. But
Yeah,
that being said, I mentioned Edward Atuesta, my player to watch for LAFC.
Oh, hold on. Didn't work. There we go.
Yes, Edward Atuesta. Look, he is starting to come and fit into this system. Not that we ever had a question as to whether or not he would, but obviously he goes from the Bob Bradley era now to the Steve Cherundolo era. So he's looking like he's fitting in. More importantly, he's scoring. He's scored in 2 consecutive games. So he's not only passing the ball very proficiently, he's taking some good looks on goal. Had that incredible header assisted by Denis Bouanga at the end against Nashville. And then, of course, he had an unbelievable shot from outside of the box against Colorado, beating Zach Steffen on that upper right-handed corner. We haven't seen LAFC historically take many shots from outside of the box, and none as pretty as Edward Atuesta's attempt. I think he's going to be a key factor in our game against the Galaxy, and I think this game is going to be really important in the midfield.
Yeah, look, it's hard to argue. I think you're going to talk a little bit more about the midfield in just a minute, but I think Edward Atuesta, look, in the same mind as I have for Matty Bogusz, where he needs to have his best 90 minutes, Edward Atuesta is going to have his hands full. I think Ilie is in a little bit of trouble in this match. There's a lot of speed in the midfield, so I think it's going to be Edward Atuesta that's got to pick up a lot of slack for us while Matty Bogusz is trying to keep track of guys like Marky Delgado or maybe even Ricky Puig. Let's get into keys to the match. First and foremost, I think that wasn't my first key. Let's see if I click this. Oh, okay, cool. I got 2 keys. There we go. Don't know why I did that, but that's okay.
Even your keyboard is dyslexic.
Yeah, it's okay. We figured it out. The first key is to mind your P's, and that would be Puig, Peck, and Paintsel. I think those 3 guys, look, there's not a more talented trio in Major League Soccer right now. And yes, I am well aware that Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, and Jordi Alba or Sergio Busquets or whomever you would like to throw in as their trio, I'm well aware that they are still a part of Major League Soccer. But I think if you're looking at it, just reminds me of when Will Smith was talking to, God, what was the name of the other guy in Men in Black? I'm blanking on his name, the old guy.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Thank you, Tommy Lee Jones. Will Smith was talking about Tommy Lee Jones's car and his new car, and it was like, new hotness, old and busted. And I think that what we're seeing with the Galaxy is that you have Puig, Peck, and Paintsel are the new hotness, and you got injured Lionel Messi, Jordi Alba, who's still doing pretty well, and Luis Suarez, who turns out is still really good. That's kind of old and busted. They're ushering in the new guard there in Carson, and I think that Puig, Peck, and Paintsel, those 3 are just so incredibly talented. It is going to be a handful for our back line, for our midfield. I think it's even going to take maybe Denis Bouanga dropping in defense every now and then, like we used to see Carlos Vela do in some of these big situations. Man, he's not walking through that door anytime soon. But we used to see Carlos Vela drop back, and he would have a big header in the middle of the box in the 85th minute to kill the buildup for the Galaxy, or he would be playing on the wing and make a nice slide tackle to slow up play, something like that. It's going to be really, really interesting to see what we do. And look, I think we are going to need some veteran contributions, whether that means we finally get a Maxime Chanot sighting, whether that means that it's Hugo Lloris that has to make 2 or 3 big saves, whether that means that Kai Kamara finally scores another goal in Major League Soccer, the 3rd all-time leading scorer in MLS. I think we are going to need to get a contribution from one of the old guys on our team. And yes, I think I'm putting Maxime Chanot in that category, even though he's not super old. I think that could be a Ryan Hollingshead goal. I think that could be, one of these goals is going to have to be scored by a guy who's on the other side of 30 for LAFC to have a chance.
That's fair. There's a question in the chat from Jay Gutierrez, 81088. Is Omar Campos back? The problem with doing this one more sleep this early is a lot of the media notes that we normally get in reference to do this show haven't been released yet. So as of right now, we don't know whether or not Omar Campos is back. And Scarv and I did a bad thing. We didn't pay attention during media day, nor did we go or even listen to it. But he did have an ankle injury last week, which is what kept him out of the game against Colorado. So if it's an ankle injury, the kid's so young that at this point he must have Wolverined himself back into shape. And we're going to need him. And we're going to need him to play his best game ever. Because in particular, on the side, I'm thinking Joseph Painsil is going to come charging on that side where Omar Campos is going to be situated. So that ankle better be up to snuff. More importantly, he better be up to snuff. Keys to the game, though, look, it's a battle of the midfield. I do think that the most talented midfielders are going to be Ricky Puig and Edward Atuesta. And in that order, I'd hate to say it, Ricky Puig is difficult to mark. He is difficult in transition. He is efficient with his passing. So LAFC is going to need to do a great job controlling and containing him in that midfield. He connects with Painsil on a break, we're in deep trouble. Or even on the other side with Gabriel Peck, we're in trouble. If we can close him down, prevent him from being the type of player that we've seen him be, then I think we really have a good shot at preventing their attack. Joveljic is not going to go out there and create anything from the midfield. He's going to accept the ball in the box from that midfield and look to score and poach goals that way, same as his predecessor, Chicharito, did. But Joveljic has been really good this season now that he is the lone forward, able to go out there and do the things that he had been doing, but obviously sitting in the background watching Chicharito do things. We control and contain the midfield. We control and contain the Galaxy.
All right, this is the fun part. This is where we either get roasted or revered if we get the scoring predictions correct. Let's start with mine. I think we're circling the hell out of the wagons. I think this is our Waterloo this season. I think it is early.
Bowling or something?
No, I did not. We are just 7 matches in, including this match, obviously, against Carson. I think this needs to be our put up or shut up moment as a club right now, because you know what we need to do? We need to show that the guys who we have right now are going to be more than just adequate or enough to get us to July 1st. Because, yep, we've heard Olivier Giroud is coming around July 1st. We've heard the rumblings of a guy like Antoine Griezmann. I keep putting it out there like LeVar Ball did for his stupid big baller brand thing. I'm just trying to manifest destiny that Bobby Firmino really wants to come to LAFC and be a key piece of our midfield. He doesn't, but I'm just going to keep saying it. Whatever happens between now, though, and July 1st, we have to show that we have the horses to get there. And yes, it's a lot more helpful when you got a healthy Omar Campos. It's a lot more helpful when you have an eligible David Martinez. It's a lot more helpful when you've got depth on the front lines and the back lines, but we don't have any of those things coming into this match. So LAFC is going to have to show that this is their put up or shut up moment right now. And I believe we will do it. 3-1 LAFC.
I like it. I definitely believe in the 3 aspect of things. I do think that we can score 3 goals. I do also think that the opposition can score 2 as well. But regardless, when it all boils down to it, at around 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, Saturday night, LAFC will have 8 wins and 5 draws and 9 losses against the Galaxy. They currently have 7 wins, 5 draws, and 9 wins. So obviously I'm indicating that LAFC is winning. 100% they are winning. You can kind of turn these storylines around and upside down. Every match going in, for the most part, has been off the heels of LAFC being the team that has started stronger than the Galaxy. This time, it's done a complete 180, where the Galaxy are off to their best start since 2010. So they are the ones that have the better run of form in this year thus far. Still undefeated, by the way. But you can't stay undefeated all season long, and by no means will the Herbalife stash, whoever they bring in, walk into BMO Stadium, push our club around, and walk out with 3 points. It is not going to happen. No way. No way. If this team collapses, then it will... No, what's the word I'm looking for? LAFC will not collapse against this Galaxy side. Very talented, but this will be the game to prove to all the pundits in Major League Soccer that LAFC is for real. It's this game. If they don't prove it now, like you said, it is put up or shut up time. We do still have so much more football to be played and more resources coming in. But for right now, this first part of the season, this match matters because it will really show all of us how talented our team is. And it'll show all of us as to how they rise in very important games. Colorado, yes, an important game, but it is not to the level of competing against the Galaxy. This is the best rivalry in Major League Soccer, and we're going to see some fireworks, but they're going to be black and gold fireworks above BMO tomorrow.
Yeah, and I just want a response real quick to Jay Gutierrez. Even if Omar Campos is back, I am starting Sergi Palencia. Absolutely starting Sergi Palencia in this match, even if Omar Campos is back, even if Omar Campos is healthy. I'm starting Sergi Palencia on one side and obviously Ryan Hollingshead on the other. I think we know who all of the other starters will be. Thanks, David Martinez. But either way, I think that we know who our starting 11 is going to be. We know who their starting 11 is going to be. I like it because both teams, look, we're still a quality side. I mentioned our XG. I mentioned we're one pass away from David Martinez finding Denny Bouanga to having just as many wins as the Galaxy do on the season. So, look, for me, we are not that far apart. And I think this is a game where, again, we circle the wagons. And like you, my friend, I am absolutely predicting we get out of here with 3 points. We are going to be on Christmas Tree Lane, Philly. What time are we going to be on Christmas Tree Lane? It's going to be early. We'll be there early. We'll be there all day.
Call a baseball game tomorrow, but I made sure to do something I never do, and that's look months in advance. I made sure to circle this weekend on the calendar, and I told the good folks over at UC Riverside, I will call the game Friday. I'll call the game Sunday. I'll call a doubleheader on both days if I have to, but I need this Saturday because of this game. This is important. I'll be on Christmas Tree Lane. You'll be on Christmas Tree Lane. The good thing is the game is a little early, so it's not going to be an all-day tailgate. Thank God for that. So I would venture to guess no later than 9:10.
I like it. All right. Look.
One more thing, though.
Yeah.
Tangerine Topo Chico. By the way, non-alcoholic. Very good stuff. Just saw this at the store the other day. It's 15 calories of bubbly greatness. So, Jacob and Ronnie, if you're not going to sponsor us, the good folks at Topo Chico, we love Monterrey, Mexico, which is where Topo's from, and we love Topo Chico. There you have it.
Yeah, real quick, happy birthday, Imelda. Imelda, we love you. Happy birthday. Also, the whole family. We love all of you. Mario, what's up, Mario? Everybody's now coming into the chat. Don't worry, you're not late. We're just really early for doing one more sleep. That being said, you guys, I've got 3-1. Philly's got 3-2. And either way, both of them are an LAFC victory. And we will see everybody tomorrow out on Christmas Tree Lane. Now I have to find that video. Here.
Acknowledge me. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.